I've joined the Rawvolution at Naturaw because I know that not all raw food is created equal. I'm passionate about feeding dogs as nature intended. After all, you are what you eat, and so is your dog. At Naturaw, there are no compromises, no confusion, just real raw food made with integrity and a conscience, offering 100% transparency, supporting British farmers, and only using the highest welfare assured ingredients is so important. They're a certified B Corp and reduce their carbon footprint by utilizing solar power and planting trees. They only use completely plastic-free packaging that's home compostable. Prudence and Mr. Binks are simply loving their nutrient-dense and balanced recipes. So try Naturaw today. Just go to naturaw.co.uk and grab 20% off your first purchase with my code AnnaWeb20. Join the Rawvolution and feed exceptional raw food. I'm Anna Webb, and welcome to this episode of A Dog's Life. We're chatting to Danny Nelis-Rouse from Tug E Nuff, all about enrichment and lots more. And this episode is powered by Antonol. Danny Nelis-Rouse, welcome to A Dog's Life.
Hi, Anna. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited.
Oh, well, I'm so excited that you're on, actually, because it's always nice to catch up with people that I know already.
Yeah, we've met a couple of times in the past, haven't we? It's been always been great to catch up with you.
Well, it is. Well, I loved it because at the last edition dog that I hosted, I was just so proud of my own dog.
Yes,
Do you remember what happened?
I do remember. I do remember. We did a little demo in the arena, didn't we? And we had my dog Bob was with us. We
Yeah.
were trying to do a little bit of a recall workshop, I guess, really, and using toys and play in how to help build that recall with your dogs. But it was a really fun little demo. I don't think the dogs did exactly what we wanted them to do, but people got the idea.
Well, Mr. Binks did. He rocked
Yeah,
it.
oh,
And
okay.
and everyone, always thinks Mr. Binks is sort of the funny little one with the skinny legs and all the rest of it. And but he just tapped into that terrier ratting instinct that is in its
Yes.
DNA big time,
Yeah.
being the ratter of the Victorian era. Well, he surprised me, to be fair, because he was in an arena being watched by loads of people, which he hates being watched. He
Yeah.
feels self-conscious, but he just couldn't help himself. And he was charging around chasing the Tug E Nuff, which
Indeed.
I love your product. So,
Thank you.
let's wax lyrical about it. I've got one here, but unfortunately I can't squeak it because Prudence killed. Actually, there's a bit of squeak left in it.
Might be a
Can we hear a bit of it? Yeah, there's a bit of squeak.
bit.
So what I'm holding is this amazing faux fur, I should say, right? Oblong piece of fabric,
Yeah.
okay, that's attached to some super strong nylon with an extendable piece in it. So it's got a bit of pull
Yeah.
and a handle, which is padded. So you've got a nice grip for the human that's
Yeah.
not going to shred your hands.
Yes,
Lovely,
indeed.
soft, silky fabric. The aim of which is, Danny, explain to the listeners.
Yeah, so it sounds like you've got one of our chasers there, which is one of our hero products, I would probably say, and they're really, really great for tapping into. Most dogs will have that innate drive to want to chase and pounce, and really it's their prey drive, and that's really what we're tapping into when we're playing tug as well. But those really long chaser style toys are really great for getting your dog to chase you and make you the fun thing rather than maybe that dog up in the distance of the park or a squirrel or something else, even worse, that you don't really want them chasing. But you can use play and that chaser toy to really build on that innate behavior that dogs have.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, because this is really important. A lot of people have trouble training the recall, don't they, Danny? You've
Yeah.
you've done a bit of your own research on
Yeah, so
this, I believe.
every year we survey our customers, and also we go out past our customer base and just ask the wider social community about problems, or not problems. That's a really not the greatest word to use, but things that they struggle with, that their dogs do that they don't really fit into their daily lives. And we've found that more than a third of UK dog owners feel confused or frustrated when it comes to training their dog. And then the most common training struggle that we found in our survey, especially the one that we did last year, was recall. And 45% of people that answered said that their dog has little to no recall. So that's quite a big percentage.
Well, it's a worrying percentage,
Yeah.
I would say, because,
Yeah.
really, in my, dog training hat on, if you're going to train one cue, just one, it's
Yeah.
got to be the recall, because
Yes.
that's the one cue that could save
Yeah.
your dog's life.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, it is more than just getting your dog to come back to you when you just want to put the lead back on and go home. But it is, you're right. They could be running in front of danger or anything. So having that recall and some other really key behaviors trained and nailed is really, really important.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, I did read a stat, I mean, I did psychology, so I do sort of a bit believe in this old adage, lies, damn lies, and statistics,
Yeah.
because I actually had to do statistics. Can you believe that, Danny? I am such not a mathematic person. So I did actually fail it twice. I had
Oh, no.
one last chance, or I wouldn't have got my degree. I did pass it just. I
Good.
found it so uninteresting, I've got to say, because it did, it's a whole nother conversation. Statistics, they're a funny old thing, right? But
Yeah,
anyway, they give you a picture for sure, for
of
sure.
course.
But there was another one that was 54% of dog owners just after the pandemic had no recall. And
Yeah.
of course, this can cause problems to other dog owners, people who are training their own dog, minding their own business, having a nice time, and then bang, whoosh, this dog appears from nowhere, totally distracting the situation, ruining your own fun in the walk with your own dog, and the inability for this dog to go back to their owners. So it's quite a multifaceted problem.
Yeah.
That's why the recall is so great. So, well, as I was just describing there with the Tug E Nuff that I've got, you
Mm.
can use the Tug E Nuff, can't you, Danny, to really ignite the recall, because you become more interesting than a lump of fox poo, a pigeon, a squirrel, another
Yeah.
human, another dog. You are the most interesting thing. And that, would you agree, Danny, is kind of the key to dog training?
It is the key, definitely. It's all about motivation, really. And we always talk about positive reinforcement. So it's all about the reward, the thing that's better for the dog to want to choose to do than the thing that in that moment, going and rolling in that fox poo, as you just mentioned, is such they're motivated to do that. But if you can find something that's more motivating, like tapping into their prey drive by getting that toy out and dragging it along the floor and getting them to come and calling them back to you, having that game of tug is a really great way of just interrupting the thing that were going to do, bringing out something that's more exciting. And arguably, it makes you where the fun is. Actually, it makes them stay with you, check in with you more on walks. Especially if they're off lead. Because they're going to come back and go, oh, is it time to play yet? Oh, no, not quite yet. I'm going to go off and do my own thing again. Oh, check back in again. Or is it time for play? Yeah, get the toy out and have a game of tug. So arguably you become the thing that your dog becomes a little bit more interested in than the other distractions in the park that you don't want them going off and chasing or rolling in, all those things you don't want them to do.
Yeah, no, 100%. And you've got quite a big range, which I love, because,
Yeah.
I love your range of products. Well, which is why I'm really chuffed to have one. But, it's like they're proper dog toys. May I say that?
Yeah, yeah, they are. So we always say that they're not toys that you would leave in your dog's. If your dog has a toy box, we wouldn't recommend leaving your Tug E Nuff toys in the toy box, because what you want to do, and it really helps increase that desire to want to play that we just talked about, is by limiting the access that they have to it. So just bringing that toy out when you're in a situation where, number one, maybe you're training a behavior, so you've got that toy out to start training a particular behavior or recall, and then you put it away again afterwards, because it's the same as anything. If you have access to something constantly, it becomes less and less it loses its value, but we want to keep the value in that toy that in your dog's eyes. So actually putting it away afterwards and leaving them wanting more. I always say that when customers ask me, how do I initiate that play? It's finish the game on a positive note. So it might be throwing some treats on the floor once the game is ended, but end the game just before they're getting bored of it. So you're leaving them wanting more.
Well, this is it. That's you nailed it. I always say to all my clients, never leave all of your toys lying on the floor for your dog, just to have them whenever they want, because you have no desire and motivation, as you said, then for those toys. I only ever leave things to chew on, like, it might be a yak chew or a stag antler or something. Those go on the floor, but I never even leave my Kongs lying around for them. Again, they need to desire those, so that if I bring one of those out, they're like, oh, goody, yum, yum. I wonder what's in it today. Sorry, just a normal brew, just a bit of chicken. But exactly. Oh, I love all of that. So please carry on, Danny.
Yeah. Of course. I mean, we do. We look at how we develop products and bring out new ideas. Is really looking at how dogs and people interact with each other. If that makes sense, and also things that we always say the behaviors that humans find problematic with dogs, because it's not the dog necessarily, it's something that the dog, it's not necessarily a problem, but it's things that we find problematic. So we design toys to try and fit those things. So we've got shorter toys that you can whip out and play on the sofa if you're not necessarily wanting to get up that day. Toys and enrichment and enrichment games are really great for times where you can't take your dog out. So, if you're not necessarily the biggest fan of this wet weather we've been having this couple of months, you may not want to take your dog out for a walk every day, but actually you could play a game of tug in the garden, undercover, or in your living room, and arguably they would have enough enrichment there to actually not maybe necessarily need the walk on that day. I mean, I'm not saying don't take the walk for weeks on end, but you can use tug and play as a way to burn off energy that a lot of dogs have. I mean, I've got two dogs, and one of them doesn't like going out in the garden when it's raining or going out for a walk when it's raining. He'll actively avoid it. But I can get my Tug E Nuff toy out, whether that's a chaser and get him to chase it around the living room. And arguably it's giving him that enrichment that he would have out on the walk by chasing things, or sniffing or whatever, but actually he's interacting with you. So it plays such a great thing to have in your toolkit for you and your dog's life.
Absolutely. And it's very important, particularly, I mean, more of us are working at home now, or lots of people are doing hybrid working and so on. So it's very important to punctuate your own day with, it breaks away from the computer. But similarly, the same to punctuate your dog's day. They won't be on the computer. Well, sometimes my cat is. It's been a bit embarrassing. He's actually learnt to type. I'm teasing you. But he does press the keys on purpose, but he doesn't know which they are or anything yet. But I'm working on it.
Working on that, okay.
Bags, I'm training you up, a podcast assistant.
Hey, Anna.
Hey, Mike.
So we've just finished Billy's first 60 days of Antinol, and wow, what a difference.
Really? Oh my gosh, what have you noticed?
Well, he's shiner. He's much more energetic. Not that he wasn't beforehand, but you can see the difference. But remember, I told you he used to have that little limp in his back left paw that he'd hurt himself when he was a pup.
Yes,
he doesn't seem to do that much anymore.
What, the hop, skip, and the jump?
Yeah. So it's like his joints are a bit better. And we actually had friends around this weekend who'd noticed that there was something good about Billy. And I was telling them about Antinol, and they said, "Oh, what's in it?" I said, "Well, green lip muscle." And they said, "What's that?" And I go, "Oh, well, I don't know. I'll have to ask Anna," as I always do. So for next time, what should I say? What's so great about green lip muscle?
Well, green lip mussel, it comes from New Zealand. It's the only place that green lip mussels live. And what's great about the green lip mussel is that it is what's known as a broad spectrum source of omega-3. And the reason dogs need to take omega-3 is that their bodies don't make it themselves. So unless they're getting it through, their diet, which can be omega-6 heavy. And it's very important to have a balance between omega-6 and omega-3. So it's normally through supplements that omega-3 is given. And green lip mussel is unique in its having everything from EPA, DHA, and ETA. So all the main omega-3s.
And how about Binks and Prudence? They must be much better as well.
Yeah, well, they've been on it for over a year, and they've been on green lip mussel forever since I've had them. So Prue's 10 now. So she's had green lip mussel since the first day I brought her home, to be honest, but not Antinol. And I only wish I'd discovered Antinol earlier. I really honestly mean that, because it's an oil rather than a powder. So its bioavailability, that means, its effectivity to get absorbed quickly and efficiently by the body is greater.
So people listening now and they want to discover Antinol for themselves, where do they go?
Well, all you have to do is go to Antinol, ANTINOL.co.uk, and then type in Anna Webb and get your special discount. For your dogs, they also need their day being punctuated. I'm a great believer of this. I just think to have a dog just sat in their dog bed all day long. Well, my dogs aren't those. I mean, that would never happen anyway. So, it's good to preempt frustrated types of behavior by thinking, right, it's time now. Let's go out. Might just be around the block, but you get them out, quick walk, bring them back in, settle them with some enrichment, or as you say, play a quick game of tug. I do it up and down my hallway. Absolutely perfect for it. Yeah, great fan of absolutely everything that you're saying, Danny.
Yeah, and I think one thing I just, it just dawned on me there as well is, talking about people working from home or even just being at home at the weekend, if you're having a particularly bad day yourself, actually just getting that toy and having a game of tug with your dog, or, a game with your dog, actually will probably help build your spirits back up again if you're having a particularly bad time or things like that. Because actually you're breaking your day up. So actually it's a really good way of helping the human as well as the dog.
Yes, well, this is the beauty of dogs.
Yes.
They help us. They help us punctuate our day. They get us out. Even, if you don't want to go out in the pouring rain, but as you say, they help you play a game of tug up and down your hall. I mean, I have great fun doing it. If I don't do it now, I feel like I'm missing something, to be honest with you. So that's how ingrained it is in me. But yeah, dogs bring us so much.
Yeah.
And I just think, it's so important that we give back to them.
Yeah, I agreed, definitely. And I think sometimes we can be a little bit guilty as humans of being stuck in our own world, and our dog is just there, and actually you need to spend a little bit of time with them. So give them back. As you said, they give us so much in terms of their affection and what have you. But actually, let's not forget about them. Let's go and get a toy. Let's have a game of tug. It doesn't need to be tug. It can be anything. We're advocates for play in general. So we also do products that are scent reward based. So our clam, which is you can use for hiding around the house with some treats in it. It just gives them a bit of enrichment, get them to find it, bring it back to you, fill it back up again, hide it again. All those types of things. It's all about play, and we talk a lot about the power of play because it is so powerful in the eyes of our dogs. I always say it's how they communicate with us. Really, they can, playing is a really great. You'll see their behaviors when they want to have a game with you. They might bow or those types of things, or paw at you. Get the toy out and want to have a game of tug. But yeah, it's really about giving back to them as well, for sure.
Yeah, and if you think about it in a way. Because, with police dogs, even with medical detection dogs, for example, it's a charity I launched many, many years ago. When they're finding the cancer sample, they don't know it's a cancer sample.
No.
They're just doing this as a game. And I always say, when you turn your dog's world into a game with teamwork, just like playing football or whatever, you've nailed it, because there's rules and there are boundaries to the game as well, which I also love about playing tug, because for me, when I'm explaining it to people, it has to operate under strict rules, or with some dogs, not all dogs, it could end up where the human gets maybe bitten if they're not careful, because the dog can get so excited playing tug. So you need to monitor the excitement. The minute that the excitement spills into maybe a bit of frustration, bit of jumping up, I always insist that 4 feet have to be maintained on the floor playing tug. The minute dogs start to jump up, I mean, depending on how big and strong the dog is, it's all about keeping it in the rules and the boundaries of the game, just like it is for any sport. You know, you're going to cross the line or whatever. I actually don't know anything about football, so I can't use this as an analogy. I can't
even.
Me. No, I don't. I do yoga, so it's not really the same. So, but even with yoga, you have your boundaries. You know, you've got to think of the people next to you, that you're not going to fall on them or something by accident, and you know, you need to understand the end of the mat that you should be at, and so on and so forth. So, I mean, would you say that's good advice, Danny?
Definitely, and I think there's always needs to be rules and boundaries to everything. You know, that goes for everything. You know, one of the questions that I get asked a lot when we're out and about at events will be, "Oh, my dog, you know, how do I get my dog to drop the toy afterwards, or how do I get my dog to leave it if they're really into the game of tug?" And you know, actually, you can use tug as a way to teach that behavior, leave it behavior. You can, you know, disengage from the game, so stop playing on the toy, make the toy almost dead, as it were. So actually the dog will probably let it go anyway, and then you can praise it by then starting the game again, and then eventually you can build a cue into that and build that leave cue, which then helps set that boundary of, okay, now the game's over. You know, you can signal the game's over by other things, you know, scattering some food. That's a really great way of again, it's a positive way of ending it, so it doesn't become the game's ended now, so that's, you know, I can't end the game myself because the game's ending and the fun ends, if that makes sense. But yeah, no, I totally agree that you do need boundaries in place when it comes to play. And we've got a huge number of training videos on our website, so people can look at those up. And one of those is about how you set those boundaries in terms of the leaving the toy once the game has ended, how you can end a game. So we're really keen to educate people as well about play. It's really important to us.
No, I'm so pleased. I mean, it's brilliant. Now, I've looked on your website. It's all really great. I mean, you know, and I think a lot of people, you know, I don't know, maybe a lot of people, maybe a medium amount of people, but they don't totally get this whole got to play with your dog thing. It's funny. It's when they do realize, and that light bulb moment happens, it's a great thing. Living with your dog is a game. Everything your dog does, whether it's going to the bus stop, getting on a bus, for example, it's a game. Whether it's getting on a train, it's a game with rules and boundaries of the platform, of the bus, or all these different facets. If that's what you're going to do with your dog, go on a bus. You never know when you're going to need to. So it's always good to train these things, or take them into a cafe or whatever. There are rules and boundaries for how you behave in that cafe. So everything, and that's where playing a game of tug begins that, because it sets these boundaries that you're just going to extend into different areas of their life. So it's just listening to you really as the big cheese.
Yeah, and I think, you know, one of the things that's really important to consider is the situations that we sometimes put our dogs into are very stressful for them. So, you know, you mentioned putting, you know, going on a train. I mean, that is could be a very stressful situation for a lot of dogs in terms of there's a lot of noises going on, there's a lot of people around. You know, it's a very different environment to they're used to. But so you could, I mean, I'm not necessarily saying in the carriage, get your tug toy out and have a game. You know, people might look at you a little bit strangely, but once you're out of that situation, get the toy out and have a game of tug as a decompression for your dog. It's giving them an outlet to kind of go, phew, that situation's over. Now I'm a bit wound up. Let's have a bit of fun to release that kind of tension. And yeah, I think that can be a really positive thing for you to do once you take your dog out of that difficult situation, or what might be a difficult situation for them.
No, sure. But again, lots of desensitization. I mean, my dogs love going on the train. They used to do Shropshire to London and back in a day and loved it because it was a game. It was exciting. Oh, good. This is our train. You know, I'd give them the cue. We're on the train. Right. They knew what they had to do. We had to get on this thing in front of them called the train. Then they knew we were going to get to our seat. They knew exactly the drill of what was happening at that point. And it was great, actually. You know, they absolutely loved it and got loads and loads of attention on the platform and everything. I mean, they were like, because they were the only dogs on the platform, that's for sure. So it was good because, you know, I was very worried about it at first. And that's something they have under their belt, you know, as a as a life skill, because that's it as well, isn't it? It's training dogs' life skills.
Yeah, definitely. They can be thrown into any situation at any time, and you know, as we can be, you know. So actually, making them optimists is definitely really an important thing that you can do from very early on when you if you get a puppy or any dog, you know, whether it's a rescue dog or not, you know, making them optimists.
Yes.
Is important.
Yeah, I love that, because did you know that? Well, I'm sure you've read this research. There was a piece in, it was the University of Belfast, just I think it was in 2019. They researched how when dogs smell our stress, our cortisol, it actually puts them in a pessimistic mood.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So going back there to sort of breaking up the day, playing a good game of tug, which I can totally endorse, does put you in a good mood.
Yeah.
It puts me in a good mood because I know I've done some great enrichment. So
Yeah.
I've ticked that box for the morning. Okay. So I'm feeling good about that I'm a really good dog owner. I'm happy about that. But, you know, then that puts me in a good mood. My stress levels drop. So my dogs aren't smelling any negative causing cortisol. So it is this symbiotic relationship.
Yeah. And I think people do sometimes forget, you know, what dogs are capable of doing. I think you mentioned just a minute ago, but I recently did a tour of the Medical Detection Dog Centre in.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh, did you? Oh my God. I launched them. I work with them. Yeah. No. I worked on the cancer work, actually. Yeah.
Awesome.
I know I got it into the New York Times and then it just flew. And we're talking, this is circa 2006 to about
yeah. I mean, I was blown away. I was blown away by the work they do.
But it's also a game, Danny.
Yeah,
they
exactly.
have no idea they're saving humans' lives. I would just have to say that.
No,
but they have no idea, and they don't actually care. But
Yeah.
they actually just love it because it's a game. They find that scent, they get the reward, and then they get to play with their tennis ball or have a game of Tug E Nuff. And that's their reward for finding the scent. And it's the same with police dogs and army dogs. And that's the whole thing, which is why they love it so much, and they're so, you know, ready to find that Semtex that's about to explode that thing.
And they don't know that, like, you know, they don't know the context to what they're doing. But I was just blown away by how, you know, we do forget, you know, how amazing they are sometimes. I mean, obviously we don't, but, you know, we can forget, you know, when the daily drudgery of, you know, life gets in the way, you can forget, you know. And actually, you're right, all these things are games to them. They're all games. They're all things that they're getting a reward for doing. So it's really, I was just blown away by what they were capable of, you know. But
it's amazing when you see it for the first time, Danny. We used to do these open days. It wasn't when they were there at the new setup where I have been, actually, but it was wasn't far away. They've always been in Buckinghamshire, and we'd, you know, people would come with the intention to donate, and all of these people were lost people to, you know, cancer. And obviously I knew what they were about to see, and the tears, you know, the shock, the emotion in these people, it was pretty big, actually. That's the only way I could say, you know. And the dogs, you know, I mean, amazing. I mean, I started to work with Claire Guest, you know, and the charity was tiny, and we had to get the break in the press. And basically she was training the dogs in her dining room. It was Tangle, a chocolate working cocker that, God, he was brilliant. He was an extraordinary dog. He did the bladder cancer work. Sorry, it's even making me cry now. Yeah, dogs are just amazing. They really are. And we need to sharpen our pencils, I think, don't you, Danny, to really be worthy of it.
Pay back a bit. So get toys out and have a game. Because ultimately, as you've just hit there, it's all a game to them. It's all a game. You know, they're all that, you know, even, you know, sniffing out, as you just said, you know, scents that could indicate cancer is, you know, that is a game. You know, it's a really serious thing for us, you know, as humans, because we can comprehend it, but, you know, it's just a game to them, which is, you know, and it's amazing that they're able to do that and do it for, you know, for a game. Basically, it's amazing.
Yeah, no, listen, so you're going to work with a charity and, you know, maybe get Tug E Nuff involved.
So we've donated quite a lot of our toys to their centre. And we are just looking at other things we can do to help them out, you know, whether that's raising awareness for them through our mailing list or some press release stuff that we can do with them. So definitely really, really excited about what they're doing and how we can possibly get involved and help them out.
Fantastic. No, that's so awesome. Really awesome. I mean, they really are my favorite charity that isn't, you know, a rehoming charity, which is All Dogs Matter. Yeah, no, it's great.
I thought the thing that I really liked is that it could literally help anybody, and I think that was the thing that really inspired me to go. Actually, this is a really, not that all charities do great work, but this is something that could help anybody at any time, and it's so important.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, the cancer work's amazing, and that's spreading to different cancers now. It started off with bladder cancer, and now, you know, it's moved to other cancers. But also, it's the medical alert dogs that actually work with a human, be it for type 1 diabetes or POTS, which is an awful thing where people kind of just collapse suddenly.
I had never heard of that before, and Charlotte, who showed me around, was explaining to me, and it was amazing that it's be a thing to live with. It wouldn't be a great thing to live with, but having a dog by your side that could really just alert you to it's going to happen, that's wild. It's amazing, really.
I know. You see, we don't know how amazing a dog's sense of smell is. We can only guess it. No one actually knows. I know Claire and the team did work to say that a teaspoon of sugar diluted, I think it's by 3 or 4 Olympic-sized swimming pools, one or the other, can smell the sugar in that amount of dilution, and they can probably smell the sugar in even 10 Olympic-sized swimming pools worth of water. It's just a question of, do we waste time trying to pin it all down, or do we just think, do you know what? It's a dog's secret, and
Yes.
we're not meant to know. We're just meant to be able to share it if we're clever enough to dig that deep and understand how to engage with it.
Amazing. Yeah, really cool.
Yeah, no, amazing. Sorry, we're getting a bit heavy here, Danny.
That's
But
all
listen,
right.
I just love all of this. I'm so pleased that the firm's going from strength to strength. So, what about new products? Because when I saw you last, you had your main range, but I believe
Yeah.
you've got some new things coming to market.
Yeah, so we've had all of our products have this signature bungee handle. We call it our signature bungee handle. So when dogs get into, I'll get into the new products in a minute, but I think it's really important we kind of explain a little bit about some of the features of what we do. So dogs, when they get into that game of tug, they can be quite boisterous sometimes. So actually, we all of our toys have a bungee handle, so it absorbs that shock. So it's really great. It's safety wise, it's great for absorbing that shock, for protecting your joints and their neck joints during that game of tug. But also, it's a really great feedback for when dogs are playing that game of tug. They know they're in that game because they're getting that stretchy feedback, if that makes sense. So they've all got that element to it, which is really important. And then our main core range that we've had that we've done for a very long time. I mean, we've been in business for 16 years now, so we've been going a long time. But they're all tug of war games. That's essentially what it's about. So we developed a product last year. So this was launched at Crufts last year, Bob, which is our water dummy toy, basically. So my dog Bob, who was the inspiration behind the Bob toy. We live by the sea down here in Devon, and we're always out at the beach, and he loves playing in the water. But a lot of our toys, well, most of our toys sank. So actually, we were getting a lot of customer feedback about toys being lost in lakes and rivers and at the beach. And also, Bob wanted to play by the beach, but we didn't have anything he could play with. So we kind of developed this toy that was designed for floating. So that's Bob, and it's gone from strength to strength. It still has that bungee handle on it, so you can still have that game of tug, but you're not going to lose it in the water. So that's been really cool. And we launched that at Crufts, and we actually sold out of initial stocks at Crufts. So Crufts last year. So that was on 2025. So that was really great. And then we've just launched our Whip It toy. And again, this is from customer feedback. So you've probably heard a lot about flirt poles and things like that, and there's definitely a lot on the market. But we wanted to make it more Tug E Nuff, if that makes sense. So we knew the benefits of using flirt poles or something in terms of like teaching impulse control and things like that, so that we're teaching our dogs to basically, I guess, stop. And again, that's another thing that's a safety thing. If you want them to have a cue to stop at something, maybe before they're about to run across the road or something, then you can use impulse control as a great way to build that. So our flirt pole, our Whip It flirt pole, we've just launched which has been really great. It's got our signature bite. It's got it's difficult to explain. It's got a rigid handle, and then on the end of that, it's got our allure, basically. So it's got a fake fur bite area or bite zone that we call it on the end, and it's got our signature bungee handle. So go and check those out on our website because they're selling really fast. But that's been a real great game changer. And we work with a lot of dog trainers on developing that, which we do all day in, day out, work with a lot of dog trainers, which really helps inform number one, how we teach people in terms of when we're providing videos and how-tos to use our products. The Whippet is great. Check it out for sure.
No, I will. I'm sure it's brilliant for all breeds, really, as well.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, definitely. Whether you've got a small Chihuahua or a big, I think that when we were doing the photo shoot for the promotion for it, we tried to get a very small dog, but we couldn't find a Chihuahua in the area that we were, or a small dog. So I think that we've got a Doberman that's playing with it in some of the photographs, and then we've got a smaller cockapoo dog. So definitely all breed dogs, and my dogs Bob and Tiddly, they're quite small. They're both under 10 kilos, and they love playing with it. So it's definitely a great toy for all breed dogs. Doesn't matter whether they're big or small.
No, absolutely not. Well, look at Mr. Binks. I mean, So absolutely, all dogs need to play. And I think that's really the big message here. But Danny, look, no, I'm going to definitely check out all these things.
Awesome.
I'm a great fan of yours. I'm a great fan of Tug. Absolutely love it. The best game in the world. Really look forward to meeting up with you soon and maybe continuing our chat on medical detection dogs.
Yes. Yeah, no, I'm really excited about that, and there's lots of things, lots of good things coming. Essentially, let's put it that way. We've got a lot of other ideas in the works of things that we can do to really push our message of the power of play, which is, as we've talked about all the way along, it's what all dogs really want, is that game that they can play.
Yes, gosh, I must do a reel, I think, with Prudence once the weather stops raining, if it ever does. I'll get a reel on the go with the one that we've got here. And so I just hope it stops raining, because there's no fun in this ground at the moment. Dogs and humans are sinking into it, which is never really the best look.
No, definitely not.
Danny, thank you so much for joining us today. And rest assured, all the links are going to be in the show notes. And I just, would like to offer my recommendation on a personal level for Tug E Nuff.
Oh, thank you so much. That is it really means a lot. And thank you for having me. It's been great chatting just about all the things we've talked about. It's been really great. Thank you so much, Hannah.
Not at all. See you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
That's our show, everyone. Well, I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go on, do us a huge favour and rate and review the show wherever you tune into your podcasts. Thanks again to Danny for joining us today, and all the links to Tug E Nuff are in the show notes. Thanks, of course, to Mike Hansen, my producer, for all the music and the production as ever. And you can find out more about him at Pod People UK. And if you want to find out a little bit more about Antinol, just jump on their website and check out. You could use my special code, which is simply AnnaWeb. And for Naturaw, go on, do check out their website as well. And at checkout, my special discount is AnnaWeb20. And one more ask. If you haven't already, just subscribe, because it's actually free. And that way, you'll never miss another show. Bye for now.